you might be a religious scientist, if you know that everything that shows up in your life is perfect, wholeness, we're talking about wholeness. You might be a religious scientist if you believe in wholeness. The real wholeness. Not this idea that everything is one and perfect, and so all of these things that I don't like get cast aside. Not oneness in the sense that everything is perfect, and so everything that doesn't look perfect is not part of the whole, and we cast that aside. But wholeness in the actual sense that Spirit, God, life is this transcendent being that includes all perceived opposites. Perceived opposites. Everything that we think of as good or bad and right or wrong. Things that seem like they are in opposition to each other are the parts that make up the whole. And oneness must also include wholeness. Otherwise, we have duality. Oneness can't exclude anything, because then we would have this thing over here and everything unlike it over here. We have two things. And I think that right there is the crux of the whole thing. It's easy to say wholeness and mean duality when we look at wholeness as perfection. Just like when we look at oneness as sameness, wholeness as perfection leaves out anything that looks unlike our human definition, our materialized definition of perfection. So anytime we are bypassing including everything in wholeness, we are bypassing our true perfection in the sense that everything that shows up is divinely perfect. We are bypassing true oneness in the sense that everything needs to be included in order for it to be oneness. And so to embrace this idea that wholeness necessarily includes all of the parts, everything that shows up, then we have this deepening spectrum of wholeness. This spectrum, here we go again with everything becoming a spectrum and fluid. Oneness must essentially and necessarily include wholeness. This idea that everything, all of life, all of creation is part of oneness. It is wholeness. That everything that shows up in front of us are the parts that make up this whole. And this is a brilliant concept that has such layers and depth to it. One that I spend a lot of time thinking about. And I think we spend a lot of time talking about wholeness. This idea that everything is for us. Everything is not good or bad. Everything is. And everything that is moving forward. So everything in life is constantly on this evolving path forward to experience our good with a capital G, our greatness, our divine experience of life. Wholeness includes everything, all of it. And if God is all there is, and God is transcendent and immanent, God shows up through and as all of this life. So even and especially those things that we look at and see as bad, as we see as negative, those things we don't want to express, those things we don't want to feel or experience, all of that is just as whole and complete and perfect and divine as all of those things that we love.